Welcome back to SRP Park. The Jaguars leading the Pacers 5-4 here in the top of the fifth with 2 outs and a runner on first. As we are in the middle of a pitching change, Chase Horton has just entered the game to take over in relief for Chase Sloan, who went 4 2/3 and gave up 4 runs and is responsible for the runner on first. Nevertheless, we apologize for the technical difficulty, and I'd like to thank my partner, Blake Collins. Blake, thank you very much for being on top of things and getting us back up despite the technical difficulty. Once again, I'm Robert Ambrose, and to catch you back up, the Jaguars scored 5 runs in the bottom of the second inning to go up 5-1. They gave up a run in the fourth and now 2 so far here in the fifth with just 2 outs in this inning. They do, however, still have a 1-run lead and are trying to get out of this inning with this 1-run lead. In order to do that, they're going to have to pitch to Blake Bottomley of the Pacers. Bottomley was hit by pitch in the second inning and came in to score a run that inning, and that gave the Pacers the early 1-0 lead, but the Jaguars answered to that and scored 5 in the bottom half of the second, and he's hit again by pitch. And that's going to advance Jenkins to second, so 2 on and 2 out. Bottomley represents the go-ahead run. Jenkins represents the tying run. And now that's going to bring up Philip Watcher for the Pacers.
Yeah, Horton tried to sneak a fastball inside, just released it too early, and the ball got away from him. Drilled Pacers in the back, and now the Jags are in trouble with a runner in scoring position.
And now the pitch to Watcher misses for a ball. 1-0.
And it's interesting here, too, because Markevich is playing dead even with the bag at third. So if the ball is hit directly to him, all he has to do is step on third and third to first for a double play.
It's hard to do a double play when there's 2 outs, Blake.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's always a first time, right?
Absolutely. Well, it just shows you how hard I've been concentrating on getting this back up and running for you guys.
And you know what? We greatly appreciate it. We cannot thank you enough, Blake.
So, as we speak right now, yeah, there's a third, second, and first.
Any of those bases and will result in a third out. A ball or 2 balls and 1 strike on Philip Watcher. Watcher has reached base twice in this game, a single and a walk. He has been stranded both times. The pitch from Horton misses downstairs. 2 balls. And now the count is 3-1, so the scoreboard missed a ball earlier, and now they have it corrected. The count 3 balls and a strike on Watcher.
Aiken has been disciplined at the plate since we last left you, which has left the Jags trying to scramble back.
And I'm not sure if that hit him or if it badly missed inside, but either way, Watcher goes to first base. It would have been ball 4 if it didn't. And the bases are loaded. The go-ahead run at second in scoring position, and at third, Jenkins, the tying run, is where he stands. And that's going to bring up Rogers.
This is a prime opportunity for the Pacers to sit dead red on a fastball here, because you know the Jags are not going to try to finesse their way around the plate, walking in the potential tying run.
Called strike, outside corner, 0-1. And grounder to second. Throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. The Pacers leave the bases loaded, but not before scoring 2 and inching closer. Jaguars lead at 5-4, and they're coming to bat in the bottom of the fifth, which will be on the other side of this break. Welcome back to SRP Park. Jaguars coming to bat, bottom of the fifth. It's Trent Maddox leading it off for the Jaguars. Jaguars lead it 5-4. They gave up 2 runs in the top half of this inning. Now coming to bat, and a towering pop fly hit by Maddox, who swung at the first pitch, and that's caught out in left field for out number 1. And that's going to bring up Zach Goebel, who reached base twice in this game. 2 for 2 he is with a pair of singles. He was stranded in the first inning, and in the second inning was picked off in a rundown to end a very good inning so far. That's the inning in which the Jaguars scored all 5 of their runs. That's where we stand now. They lead it 5-4.
Talk about seeing the ball well. To Zach right now, the baseball is like a steak that he's looking to pound, because he has been on fire. And going back to that last at bat for a minute, Harrison Moore letting the ball travel in and going the other way means he's tracking the ball well.
Called strike. 0-1. And the 0-1 misses a ball and a strike.
Yeah, the second baseman, Phil Watcher, respecting Goebel's power here and playing on the fringe of the grass at second base. And so is a shortstop for them as well in Pawelski.
Now the 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss. 1-2 on Zach Goebel. It's not uncommon. We saw this a lot last year, Blake, for the Jaguars to put up a crooked number. We saw that here in the second inning, and otherwise go silent offensively. They scored 5 in the second inning of this game, no runs otherwise. And they're trying to add some insurance here in the fifth, leading 5-4.
Trying to work on their consistency at the plate.
The 1-2 is fouled back.
And even if you string 1 or 2 hits together, put runners in motion, going to third and first, have a consistent half inning at the plate that builds on top of each other and then produces productive innings for you. The Jags are looking to get back on that track with consistency throughout this game. As we talked about scoring 5 runs, but then after that, not much doing.
Swing and a miss. Goebel down on strikes. That's going to bring up the very powerful Bo Hanna. Bo Hanna, what an incredible freshman year he has had. He has power, and he can hit a lot of home runs, and we'll see a lot of him here in Augusta.
I believe there was one game earlier this year where he and Watson were on a power train, and Watson hit 3 home runs in the game.
And that's in the air to deep left field, and that's gone! Bo Hanna, right when we're talking about his power, he shows us exactly that. And the Jaguars lead it 6-4.
Bo Hanna is officially inducted into the Launchpad City Hall of Fame. Man, oh man, was that a shot. He timed that extremely well, firm throughout the swing, kept his hand through the zone, and used his lower half, his quads, his legs, and his hips to power that through. And once that ball hit the bat, you say adios baseball.
We see the Jaguars hit a home run earlier by Patrick Watson to right field, and now we see Bo Hanna go the other direction to left field for one. The 2 power hitters on the Jaguars getting it done so far. Here's Mason Robertson. Robertson singled and scored earlier in this game. He also has a strikeout, and he looks at a ball 1-0. Beautiful night here for baseball. We talked, the shadows played a factor very early on, but that's no longer an issue here at the River. That's grounded to short. Throw over to first is in time, and Mason Robertson is retired. And so are the Jaguars, but not before a big home run by Bo Hanna to give the Jaguars an extended lead of 6-4 as we go to the 6th inning here at SRP Park. We will be back.
While I have a minute, we want to give a shout out to our cameraman of the hour, Tim Howard, for giving you all of these great camera shots you are seeing right now.
Thank you, Tim. So as we start the top of the 6th inning here in North Augusta, it is Sean McQuillan leading it off for the Pacers against Chase Horton, who stays in the game after coming on in relief an inning ago, getting the Jaguars out of the inning. And Jaguars able to so far preserve the lead. And they add an insurance run in the bottom half of the inning on the home run to go up 6-4.
McQuillan showed bunt, tried to bring it back, but could not in time for it to be deemed a ball.
And count now, no balls and 2 strikes on McQuillan. This is the full-time home of the Augusta Green Jackets, the Giants' low-A affiliate. Opened just last year, so this is about to start the 2nd season that the Green Jackets have been here. As the Green Jackets moved over here from Lake Olmsted Stadium after the 2017 season, the Jaguars played over there as well before moving to Jaguar Field for this season. And Blake, you've been here a lot more than I have. It's a beautiful park, of course. And the impression I had, you might think differently since you were here longer, as McQuillan reached first, and is he going to go to second? No, he's going to stay at first on the play. So here's Joey Smithers back to the top of the Pacer lineup. The impression I had is because of the river out in the outfield, it keeps the ball in play a lot. And that kind of seemed to make it a pitcher's park, at least from what I saw last year going to Green Jackets games. But I think that just makes it that much more impressive, the power we've seen by the Jaguars to hit those home runs.
Yeah, it's especially with the more damper and condensed air here, with you mentioning the river just right over not even 20 feet away from the stadium here. And the Jags have absolutely been on a tear, having a heyday and a half with the sticks, and it's showing here today. But yeah, you're right. It's one of those elements that you have to adjust for, but the Jags have just been on target.
You would think with the Jaguars' power, you might see a ball hit all the way to Georgia before the end of the night.
Even with the Green Jackets, that has not happened as of yet. The furthest ball I've seen hit here.
The pitch is a strike, and stealing second is McQuillan.
I don't know if you guys can see, but there is a hotel off in left field. There was a ball hit about to the fourth level of that hotel on the Georgia-Clemson game that was here last year.
The stadium also hosts a lot of neutral site college games, just like this one. And Georgia-Clemson, I believe they're playing again this year, or is it South Carolina and Charleston Southern going at it soon?
I think it's Charleston Southern in South
Gotta
Carolina.
Change it up, but that's exciting stuff.
Because Georgia has, I believe I was reading earlier today, Citadel here.
That'll be exciting as well. And this stadium also getting to host some of the local high school teams here and there throughout the year, just like the Lake Olmsted Stadium did when the Green Jackets played there. And that's always a thrill for those guys to get to play on a stage like this as well. And it's also a thrill for AU and USC Aiken to be here tonight. And that's a called strike 3. Down on strikes goes Smithers. 1 out here in inning number 6.
Picture perfect framing from Hannah there. An absolute paint central on that fastball. Suspecting a change of speeds there, froze him dead in his tracks, and he is packing his bags off to the dugout.
That's going to bring up Trey Paluski. Scored a run in the 5th inning, just 1 inning ago, which cut into the deficit, but the Jaguars since then have answered thanks to that home run. And, you know, speaking of the Jaguars and power and also the Green Jackets playing here, when it gets muggy later on in the Green Jacket season, it gets that much harder to hit the ball out, especially with the river.
And not only that, but when it's in the summer and you've got that humidity going on with the heat as well.
And that's coming soon. No balls and a strike on Paluski. Runner on second, 1 out here in the 6th inning. Jaguars lead it 6-4. This has been a very good, well-played game. There's no question there. That's a ball upstairs.
Absolutely, from both perspectives. I mean, defensively, it's been darn near clean over the last couple of innings, and you couldn't have asked for a better offensive day from Augusta, and then Aiken's catching back up with them as well, posting 4 runs as opposed to the Jag 6.
2 balls and a strike on Paluski. Now, you talked about that hotel out in left field. That's also a brand new hotel that was built around the same time as this very stadium, along with several other things to revitalize this area in North Augusta, part of the downtown revitalization project. It was known as Project Jackson at the time.
This was the original idea brought to Cal Ripken in the city of Augusta across the bay was to do something like this and have it like the Battery in Atlanta that you see outside of SunTrust Park.
That's what this is, right?
North Augusta capitalized and seized on the opportunity, and they are reaping the benefits.
The Battery in Atlanta, also very beautiful. The Rangers are doing something similar when they open their new stadium next year in Arlington, just across the street. And they can also do that with the Cowboys, who play right across the street as well.
Absolutely.
In Texas. And we got that here, and it's beautiful. Rounded to the pitcher mound, and that's going to be foul. And Paluski's very lucky he fouled that off himself. Otherwise, he's out at first easily for out number 2. So he'll stay at the plate with the count full and 1 out and a runner on second.
Now, just a quick distinction here, since he fouled it off in the batter's box, is a dead ball strike. If he hit it and he's out of the batter's box and it hits him out of the batter's box, he is considered out at that point. So it's a break for Aiken that he's back in there with the ball hitting him in the batter's box.
We saw that earlier today between the Yankees and Orioles. It was in the first inning of their opening day game today. In the first inning, the runner on first was hit by the batted ball on what was looked to be a line drive single. Or it appeared to be hit, but it wasn't called that way, and he tried to go to third and was thrown out at third anyway, so it doesn't matter. So it didn't matter.
And sometimes it's tough for the home plate umpire to judge.
That's grounded to short. Throw across the diamond. High throw, but it's in time. Watson is able to recover and get his foot on the bag and stop the high throw by Mason Robertson from going out of play. That's out number 2, and remaining at second is McQuillan. And that's going to bring up the designated hitter, Connor Durden. Two outs here in the 6th inning. And, you know, that hotel in left field there, we can already see several guests in that hotel out on their deck watching this one. What a great view they have. There isn't a bad seat in the house or out.
Not in SRP Park. I mean, even from the Burrow out there, it's absolutely impeccable. I mean, you get a front row seat to the bullpen out there on the burrow out in left field, and then even from the kid zone and right. There's not a bad seat in SRP Park.
Not at all. And the 1-0 pitch misses. Believe the guy makes the count. 2 balls and no strikes, although I am curious how much money those guests spend per night to get that view. Probably more than a ticket.
It ain't cheap.
But still, it's a worthwhile experience no matter
absolutely.
what.
Absolutely.
Pitches swung on and missed. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Durden as they got the scoreboard back up. So they can look in and see the field on one side. On the other side, see Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And this downtown North Augusta, it's a beautiful little city just across the border from Georgia if you ever want to check it out. That's in foul territory, and it's going to stay there. Count remains 1-2 on Durden.
Great job of getting a piece of that pitch. It looked like he was off timing just a little bit there, but a good job of staying alive and fighting it off.
Horton is set. Check on the runner at second. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on just. Got a piece of that one. Foul tips that one back to the screen.
Horton trying to feast on the outside corner here to this lefty in the box, Durden. And he's living out there and has had great results thus far.
And the 1-2 misses in the dirt. 2-2. And on his way to third, and that's going to be a wild pitch as McQuillan advances to third. And Jaguars hoping it's going to be inconsequential.
So for Durden's perspective, if it's not in your wheelhouse and in your dead red arsenal to swing at, make Horton work. And if you're Horton right now, you don't want to work too much of a finesse game and just attack Horton here to get the third out, because the one thing you don't want to do is let that 5th run come in for Aiken.
And that's a high chopper to third. And no, there he caught it in the air. A beautiful catch at third base by Markevich, as it looked like a high hop, but it actually never touched the ground, and that gets the Jaguars out of the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th here in North Augusta. We'll be back. Welcome back to North Augusta. Jaguars batting bottom of the 6th. Patrick Watson will lead it off. Patrick Watson hit the big home run back in the 2nd inning up onto the Tax Slayer Terrace in right field.
And if I remember correctly, that sprung out Augusta to a 2-1 lead.
Yes, it did. They scored 5 runs that inning. Ultimately, built a 5-1 lead, and the Pacers rallied to cut it to 1 before the Jaguars added a run last inning on the home run by Bo Hanna. No balls and a strike on Patrick Watson. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Just a touch out front of the baseball, and a good job by the Aiken pitching staff to deceive Watson here and have him a little bit off balance.
And now the 0-2 misses a ball and 2 strikes. On Patrick Watson.
Watson's in protection mode right now.
And he fouls one away there, so the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. And we talked earlier, Blake, in this broadcast, how the Green Jackets, as the primary tenant here, like to host a lot of local college rivalries like South Carolina, Charleston Southern. Well, they're not really a rivalry, but 2 generally local teams. And, of course, Georgia-Clemson last year, and Georgia plays again here this year, and now this one. This is a fierce rivalry. Since it's Division II, it doesn't get the attention that, say, Georgia-South Carolina does, or Clemson and Georgia Tech type of thing. But it's a big deal, and these teams in basketball met 4 times this season. They split the regular season series, and the Jaguars beat them in the championship round of the Peach Belt Conference Tournament to win the conference tournament. That was hosted at the Christenberry Fieldhouse by the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars beat them again in the NCAA tournament to advance to the Sweet 16/regional final up in Queens before falling to host Queens College in what was an incredible season this year by AU in basketball. And we had several great games within this rivalry.
And it just goes to show you, not only are the players passionate about defeating the other side,
Absolutely,
but you also have a very passionate and rabid fan base for both squads and both sides when it comes to this cross-the-river rivalry and cross-state rivalry.
Absolutely. Our cameraman, Tim Howard, we talked about, he's as passionate as it gets.
Absolutely.
Went to school here just like you did, Blake. And it has to be a thrill to work for your alma mater.
It absolutely is, and you enjoy every single minute of it. Thankful to the folks who are letting us do this, and we'll continue to do the best we can. But if you look at it there, I believe that was
Bill Ardello flies out to short, and that's going to bring up Ben Markevich, the number 9 hitter.
Didn't get as much aluminum as he wanted on the baseball. Jammed him a little bit there.
Markevich looks at a ball, 1-0.
When we talk about defense, Markevich's defense at third base is as pristine and on point as I've seen from that position in a long time. It's absolutely some of the best that I've seen from the Jags third base tandem in a good while.
And the 2-0 is in there for a called strike. 2 balls and a strike on Markevich. Jaguars trying to flip the lineup card back to the top of the order this inning. In order to do that, Markevich, with 2 outs and nobody on, will have to reach base.
He's ahead in the count, so it puts the pressure on the pitcher here.
And he's now even further ahead in the count as he looks at a ball, 3-1.
You could tell the Aiken bench wanted that because that was a close call and not even help from the field umpire did the home plate umpire asked for, and the Jags are in the driver's seat.
Now will he have the green light here? Yes, he does, and he swings and misses, and the count is full on the freshman. Nobody on 2 outs. Full count on Markevich. Bottom of the 6th, Jaguars up on the Pacers 6-4. Here at SRP Park in North Augusta, South Carolina, the 3-2 grounded to third, and they're going to throw that one across the diamond, and it's a wide throw, and safe at first is Markevich. And we'll see how they rule that. I believe that's going to be ruled E5 on Chandler Rogers, the Pacers' third baseman, and it is. That's error number 3 in this game for the Pacers, and that's the second one with 2 outs.
Yeah, and that particular play, he just released the ball too late from his usual release point, and the ball sailed on him, and he pulled it over to the outfield side of first base. And when you do that, even with Markevich running, who has good speed as well, the Jags are in business and still in this bottom half of the 6th inning.
No balls and a strike on Murphy. The Jaguars looking to capitalize. The Pacers committed a similar error with 2 outs in the first inning, and the Jaguars were unable to capitalize there, but we'll see what happens here. And that's lined into center field. That's down for a base hit. To second goes Markevich. He's going to go to third. There will be no throw. Runners at the corners. 2 outs for the Jaguars.
Great piece of hitting there by the Jags. Absolutely phenomenal. Inside fastball. Didn't try to do too much with it. Brought the hands in as tight as he possibly can. Solid swing through the zone and just served it into right field. A phenomenal play. But can the Jags come back and capitalize and that error come back to haunt and bite the Pacers here?
It's up to Harrison Moore, the right fielder, who's going to bat now. But before that, we're going to have a mound visit, and it looks like the Pacers are going to make a pitching change. And with that, Blake, we're going to take a quick break. We'll let you know all about the new Pacer pitcher when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to North Augusta. Jaguars with runners at the corners against the new pitcher for the Pacers. It's the freshman Austin Sandover. He's pitched 12 full innings This season, he has an ERA of 2.25 and 3 strikeouts per 9 innings. This season, a check on the runners. Harrison Moore, the batter, a huge RBI opportunity for him, and the Jaguars would love insurance here with a 2-run lead in the 6th inning over the rival Pacers. The 3 losses the Jaguars suffered to the Pacers in the 3-game series last season at the Lake are certainly fresh in the minds of the players that are back this year, and they're looking to answer to that here.
One of the major differences this game from last year is a clutch hitting that the Jags are doing right now. Not trying to do too much with the baseball, just go with where it's pitched and served it back to get singles and hits.
Moore lines it to right, and it's caught on the dive. And, well, Moore did everything he could there for the clutch hit. Unfortunately, it was hit right to the right fielder, and they make the catch, and Moore's robbed. And the Jaguars strand 2. We go to the 7th here at the River. We'll be back.
We chose to book a suite tonight at the Green Jays game, mainly as a place to host our employees that work with us during the Masters Golf Tournament. We were looking for a spot that would where we could all gather as one. We were needing something that was within close range of the tournament ending, and so working with Matt, we're able to come.
I thought that was going to draw. But you see that a lot in the majors. Hard hit balls, boom, catch. A lot less here, but we're seeing it tonight. It's a great game.
Okay,
Really enjoyed tonight's event.
Hey, Tim,
The servers have been
see if you can get the number on the catcher.
checking on us.
Looks like number 9. Or actually, oh wait, I guess it would be a
Yeah.
Garrett Suter.
Suter?
Yeah. So he's not just warming up the pitcher while Goebel or whoever puts his gear on. It
No.
sounds like no, it's a. Yeah, it's Suter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that means. So Bohan is out. So we'll see Suter bat in the 5 spot. Oh, this is classic.
Yeah. Just stop right when the camera's on.
First baseman, number 32, Alex Mills.
Welcome you back here to SRP Park. It's the top of the 7th inning. And it'll be Alex Mills leading it off for the Pacers. And he looks at a called strike. This is the 3rd time in this game he leads off an inning. He singled in the 2nd and to lead off, and he homered to lead off the 4th. And the 0-1 pitch misses for a ball, 1-1.
And that pitch right there had a lot of downward movement on it.
Mills is a junior on the Pacers. The 1-1 check swing line foul. 1-2.
See, we're at the bottom half of the strike zone, the inner third from the middle. You've kind of worked away. Now let's see if he goes back down or up to set up the opposite end of the strike zone for an attack.
Now the 1-2. Check swing. Doesn't matter. It's a called strike 3 regardless. 1 down in the 7th. And what outstanding pitching by Chase Horton, who came on in relief in the 5th and has been lights out since.
Absolutely. He actually had Mills overthinking it. And when you overthink it like that, you kind of lose track of what's coming next. And Horton blazed right by him, a fastball right down the pipe.
Now the pitch in the dirt for a ball, 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes on Jenkins.
And if you don't see the rotation of the pitch you want early on, Robert, it almost freezes your mind to where you won't swing at it, and that's what happened to Mills.
And that's also beautiful pitching by Horton to put him in that position.
Jones and Horton, the starter and the back end so far for the Jags, have been absolutely brilliant on the mound.
And that's grounded to short. The throw over to first by Mason Robertson is in time. That's out number 2 here in the 7th. Blake, we're an out away from the 7th inning stretch of this game, and that's going to bring up Blake Bottomley.
And one thing they're doing too, yes, they're painting the corners, hitting their spots, but at the same time, they are as well pitching to contact, and that spells wonders for your defense.
And that misses for a ball, 1-0. On Bottomley, the Pacer catcher who has reached base twice, both times off a hit by pitch. He also struck out, so in this his 4th plate appearance, he has yet to hit the ball in play. Here in this one, a ball and a strike now, the count on Bottomley. And the 1-1 in there for a called strike, 1-2.
Enter third, dead red fastball, froze him in his tracks. Now you set up something off speed. Maybe go if you have a sinker, curveball, anything of that magnitude, punch him out.
And the 1-2 misses, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And this is the 2nd time in this game, Blake. Deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. I know you guys also like to say Yahtzee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's swing and a miss. 1, 2, 3 go the Pacers. We have reached the 7th inning stretch at SRP Park. Jaguars coming to bat, leading at 6-4. We'll be back. Welcome back to the River. Jaguars batting in the bottom of the 7th, and for the Jaguars, Trent Maddox will lead things off. Jaguars with a 6-4 lead. Here in this one, this has been an outstanding, very well played game to watch, Blake.
Absolutely, and also too, the Jags right now have a different angle from a sidewinder on the mound for Aiken. So let's see if that enhances their vision or does a number on their vision to where they can't track the ball as well. We'll see what happens, but the Jags have been absolutely tremendous at the plate tonight.
Ball, no strikes, and the pitch is a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike on Trent Maddox. This is a great crowd for today's game. A lot of people excited about the Green Jacket season, but I am truly impressed and thrilled for the turnout that we have here in this one.
Seeing a lot of students here from both universities and both sides. It's a wonderful turnout, especially being right here close to Aiken and close to Augusta University, especially the Forest Hills campus on Wrightsboro Road.
The 2-2. Called strike 3 on Maddox, who thought about swinging but didn't. And it doesn't matter. It's a called strike 3 regardless, 1 gone.
That's one of those where it's on the fringe 19-inch strike zone, and it tailed off into that extra 2 inches there, and that's where Maddox was stumped because he wasn't sure if it was a fastball that was a ball or a strike, and he check swung, and he decided wrong.
So here's Zach Goebel, the designated hitter. 2 for 3 in this game. And the pitch, hard ground ball to third. Throw across the diamond. High throw, but in time for out number 2. As Chandler Rogers made a high throw earlier in this game, it turned out to be an error. This time he's able to recover for the second out.
Mills has definitely saved a lot more balls being tossed in the air and out from the first base pads. He saved a lot more errors than what could have been for the Pacers. So he has done a phenomenal job at first base, keeping the errors to a minimum.
And now the pitch. That misses for a ball. 1-0.
And if you look out in left field, the left fielder for the Pacers, Blake Jenkins, is playing in the hole and in the left center field gap there, exposing the line. So if the Jags can just poke one over the third baseman, there'll be a lot of real estate for them to run on the base pads and maybe cinch in a double or a triple.
The 1-1. That misses for a ball. 2 balls and a strike.
Both right field and left fields playing in the holes, trying to close in the gaps out in the outfield.
The 2-1 pitch to Garrett Suter. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Suter, the catcher for the Jaguars, entered this game defensively an inning ago, replacing Bohanna, who homered earlier on, supposedly for defensive purposes. Bohanna with a lot of power. One freshman catcher replacing another. Here's the 2-2. Grounded to third. Rogers again. Throw across the diamond. That one is right on target. And the inning is over. The Jaguars take the field as we go to the top of the 8th inning, I should say, here at the River. You're watching and listening to the Augusta University Athletics Network on YouTube. We will be back. We are back here in North Augusta, top of the 8th inning. Jaguars with a 6-4 lead over the Pacers of USC Aiken. And the Pacers have Philip Watcher leading it off here in the 8th against a new pitcher for the Jaguars. Checking to see who that is, and we'll let you know as soon as we can. No, 1 ball, no strikes is the count on Watcher. And the pitch misses again. 2 balls and no strikes. The pitcher for the Jaguars is John Micah Law.
With Markevich playing dead even at third base right along the base pad, I would not be surprised to see if Watcher here places a bunt down and fakes it and tries to shoot it over Markevich's head. And if he does that, he's going to go miles on the base pads.
Watcher is a speedy second baseman. And he'll watch that ball all the way for sure.
And that's the case because Markevich knows that, and he's guarding against and also respecting the bunting ability of Watcher here. So we'll see what happens, but that would be something to think about, especially if you're Aiken right here.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And that's a high pop fly. Center field. Bill Ardello is there. Bill Ardello makes the catch for the first out. That's going to bring up Chandler Rogers looking for a little redemption after that error he committed back in the 5th. Or actually in the 6th inning, I should say.
Watcher just caught that baseball just underneath the barrel of the bat and didn't hit it on the barrel. It hit it on the neck, and Bill Ardello easily tracked it down and put the first out in the books.
A ball and no strikes on Rogers. And that misses for a ball. Once again, 2 balls and no strikes. And the pitch in there for a called strike, 2-1. Rogers has singled, walked, and grounded out in this game. He's going to be followed by Sean McQuillan, who waits on deck.
Awesome job on Law's part there, seizing the corner for the strike.
And the 2-1 line foul into Georgia Avenue. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You excited for the Masters coming up in a couple weeks?
Outside of the traffic being here, yes.
So that's a yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, there'll be traffic, but what's the big deal, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll also be traveling up about 45 minutes up the road to Thompson during Masters weekend, but
That'll sound fun.
yeah, if traffic is died down enough, it would be a fun atmosphere.
And swing and a miss, and Rogers down on strikes. 2 outs here in the 8th inning, and that's going to bring up Sean McQuillan.
And it's usually the interstates and Washington Road that has the most traffic during that time.
I remember the Washington Road traffic the whole week. And when we played USC Aiken last year, going back and forth to Lake Olmsted on it.
Yeah, there are times when it could get blistering bumper-to-bumper traffic, especially passing interstate up to the actual golf course.
Let's also not forget about the tournament that the Jaguars will be hosting the weekend before.
Absolutely.
At the Forest Hills Golf Club.
Mm-hmm.
The women hosted that same tournament 2 weekends ago, and it was a huge success, so we'll hope the men can have the same success as well, and I guess that's a precursor. A ball and a strike. Swing and a miss on by McQuillan, 1-2. And Blake, you've obviously been here most of your life, so you've experienced this quite a bit more than I have with the Masters. It's your thing, and it's the time of year where basically all the schools in the area do their spring break to match up when the Masters is.
Yeah, and it also brings in the most revenue for the city of Augusta.
You would think
during that time period, are one of the biggest, definitely one of the biggest boom periods during that week of the year.
No kidding. And McQuillan draws a walk, so we're back to the top of the order now for the Pacers, and that's going to bring up Joey Smithers.
That's almost like equivalent to here as a city hosting a Super Bowl or a WrestleMania or
absolutely
NBA championship
Super Bowl
or
was
World Series.
The Super Bowl was 2 hours down I-20 this year.
Yeah.
And the Final Four next year will be as well. Throw the first in time. And we go to the bottom of the 8th. The Jaguars lead it 6-4 here at the River. We'll be back. We are back at SRP Park. Mason Robertson will lead it off for the Jaguars here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Jaguars with a 6-4 lead. Blake, this has been a outstanding game.
Especially with the offensive front. I mean, you've had Augusta blast 2 home runs. They've had a heyday and a half all game long with the bats, and it's showing with the consistency that we talked about earlier. They're showing that, and not only that, but they're also being more selective and aggressive at the plate and providing more discipline, which is turned into a fruitful experience here at SRP Park tonight.
The 1-0 pitch to Robertson is fouled away, 1-1. Speaking of discipline, Mason Robertson does that better than anybody else. He's walked over 20 times this year.
He has an absolute premier idea of where the strike zone is, what's a ball and what's a strike, and he rarely is caught fishing or swinging out of the strike zone.
And the 1-1 swung on, fouled away again. It's going to go into the concourse, 1-2. and bounce into the grass area near the Jaguars bullpen.
Outside of that second inning 5-run affair from the Jags, the Aiken bullpen has been top-notch, only allowing 1 run through the last 6.
The 1-2 swung on, grounded to second, and that's going to be mishandled, and Robertson is on. That will likely go down as an error, a fielding error most likely by the second baseman, Philip Watcher. The Pacers have had a rough day, especially their infield defensively.
And that's something of a game where it's under the bright lights here at SRP Park. You look to clean up, but this experience, you'll definitely see them working on more ground balls, more efficiency with glove to transfer ratio to get ready to throw, and then just better positioning overall from a defensive front when on defense on the diamond.
Called strike on Timothy Gray, who is into the game, replacing Patrick Watson at first base. Also a defensive move.
You know, I was watching an MLB Network special the other day, and it was talking about how Ron Washington, third baseman of the Atlanta Braves, was working with a lot of the infielders for them, working on like short drills. And what he was basically doing was, once that ball hits the ground, your glove is underneath it getting ready to pick it. That means that you don't let it attack you. You kind of attack the ball, and your defense becomes consistently better that way. And that may be something to latch onto with some of the Aiken players in preparation to get better on defense.
Absolutely. No balls and 2 strikes on Timothy Gray here. Runner on first, nobody out. The Jaguars looking to capitalize after the 4th error by the Pacers committed in this game.
Yeah.
And the 1-2 pitch. 1-2 is now the count on Timothy Gray. He'll be followed by Devin Billardello. And then Ben Markevich. Bottom of the 8th here in SRP Park. Here's the 1-2 pitch. In the dirt for a ball. 2 balls. And 2 strikes, count even on the junior first baseman for the Jaguars, Timothy Gray.
Exquisite eye there from Gray, because that was an extremely difficult pitch to take right on the fringe of the border of the strike zone.
And check on the runner at first. Robertson does get back. Robertson's got speed, so the Pacers know it. Wouldn't be surprised if he takes off towards second.
Yeah, trying to shorten his lead to 2 steps rather than 3. And if you cut that lead down by a step, you have a better chance of throwing him out if he tries to steal.
And the pitch, swing and a miss, and Timothy Gray is down on strikes. That's out number 1, and that's going to bring up Devin Billardello.
That time, Aiken just focused on Gray, attacking him at the heart of the plate, and Gray was just a touch late on that fastball.
Nasty fastball it was. Billardello is 0 for 3 in this game. Grounded out, flew out, and struck out.
Gray might have been thinking changeup there, because the way that at bat went with the pitches, it set up for something off speed, but they fooled him.
Check on Robertson once again at first, and once again, Blake, he gets back.
And it also, keeping him at first base, sets him up for either a 4-6-3 or a 6-4-3 on the diamond as a double play scenario.
Billardello looks at a ball, 1-0.
Or if it's also hit sharply to third, you switch out a 5-4-3 instead of a 6-4-3, and you're out of the inning that way as well.
One out, runner on first. Double play will get him out of the inning. The pitch is a called strike, 1-1 strike to Bill Ardello.
He's taking 2 on the inside corner. You protect there, but you want to set your bat to where it can cover the outside as well, because if not this pitch, somewhere down the line in the next couple of pitches, he'll try to work to the outside corner.
And the 1-1 swing and a miss. 1-2 to Bill Ardello. Bill Ardello, even though he has struggled this year, he is capable of, making things happen on the base paths and creating opportunities for the Jaguars. He is no stranger to the leadoff spot, even though he's been hitting down in the lineup most of the season.
They're concentrating on getting him out, because if he gets on...
And he strikes out on a swing and miss.
Well,
that's 2 outs.
About to say, if he gets on a gap shot, a double, he would score easily.
Robertson from first, absolutely.
And Bill Ardello from first, with it being as big
if he was on first. Yeah, absolutely.
As big of a park as this is.
And another advantage that Robertson will have here, if Markevich is able to hit one like that, is 2 outs. He's not going to have to tag up.
Right. And you also look at it, too. SRP is modeled out of the San Francisco AT&T Park with that triples alley out in right center.
Robertson goes, and he steals second. And the pitch was a ball, so 1-0 on Markevich. Robertson found the perfect pitch to go for when there were 2 outs.
Off-speed pitch gives you an extra step or two to spring out and get your lead. And that extra step or two beats the throw.
Speaking of this park being modeled after the Giants, 2 parks right on a body of water. Of course, the Giants are the Green Jackets' parent affiliate, parent club.
Absolutely.
Which is why they went off of that park, of all parks. 2 balls, no strikes, the count on Markevich. RBI opportunity here with Mason Robertson, the runner on second, and 2 outs, and the Jaguars up 6-4 in the bottom of the 8th, needing insurance. I would say need, if you're the Jaguars.
If you look at it, and even though you're going into the 9th inning, two runs you would think would be enough, but you'd like to get it to a more comfortable lead and at least extend it out to 3, because a runner on base for the Pacers and your comfortability level drops to about a 2 when they come up to bat.
The 2-0 pitch. And that misses, and it's 3-0 on Markevich. First base is open, but I don't think the Pacers would want to put him on here with the top of the order due up next.
No, and that scenario, too, is why this run is so important at second, is because it puts extra pressure on the closer or the 9th inning reliever for the Jags to be not necessarily pitcher perfect as far as framing and finesse-wise at the plate, but he'll have to pitch inside the strike zone, and that's where he's liable to come into contact with more contact from the Pacers, and that a lot of times does not set well when you're in the later innings like this.
Absolutely not. And Markevich looks at strike 1, count 3-1. He thought for sure he had just drew a 4-pitch walk and had to get called back to the plate. And he swings and misses on the 3-1 pitch. And now the count is full. Interesting, Robertson probably will not take off here because first base is open.
Right, but also the stress is still on the pitcher here to make a good pitch and not walk Markevich.
And the 3-2. Swing and a miss. He comes right back and strikes out 3 in a row after the error. And we go to the 9th inning with the Jaguars leading it 6-4 here at SRP Park. You're watching and listening to the Augusta University Athletics Network on YouTube. We'll be back. Welcome back to SRP Park, top of the ninth inning. John Michael Law back on the mound for the Jaguars, and we're back to the top of the order for the Pacers, and Joey Smithers batting for the 5th time today. He's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He also has a ground out. Or actually, he's 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts and 2 ground outs in this one, and he looks at a ball, 1-0.
The approach here for the Pacers, if it's not in your wheelhouse, make the pitcher work. You want base runners to try to tie this game up.
High chopper to short. Throw to first. In time for out number 1.
Mason's always been clutch on defense, out at second. Then he moved over to short this year. But the key thing in that particular play was Mason's transfer. He was a little bit off balance coming in after having his body stabilized on the run. The transfer was key. It was pristine, and the throw was gorgeous over to first base for the first out.
Here's the pitch to Paluski. Swing and a miss. 0-1. One out here in the 9th. And now the 0-1 lined into right field, base hit for Paluski. And that's going to bring the tying run to the plate.
Now the trick is for the Pacers is to try to not swing for the fences. If you try to swing for the fences, you may wind up swinging through pitches. So let the power come naturally. If you want to tie this up with one swing, let it come naturally. But focus on getting hits and base runners right now, because if you put a runner on second and first and move them over, then you've got both runners in scoring position. That would be a simpler way to tie this game up.
And that's going to be popped up foul by Durden, the designated hitter, who's walked and scored in this game. He's also grounded out once and flown out twice.
And if you think launch angle, if you think launch angle from this perspective and swing for the fences like this, you may miss an opportunity to move the guys over and put your team right back into this game. Because, and first of all, one more thing, Robert, if they do get a runner in scoring position, the complexion changes and the stress and the pressure is right back on Law, who is on the mound.
It absolutely does. We saw Law throw a shutout inning in the 8th. Now he's ahead of Durden, 0-2, with a runner on first now a runner on second. So Paluski goes to second. I'm not so sure what the call was there. Nonetheless, it's 0-2 on Durden. So first base is open, and that, like you said, Blake, this does change the complexion of the inning because that ruins the double play.
Ruins the double play. They'll get one more batter up to the plate. They do have to score 2, though, so that is in favor of the Jags.
Durden remains the tying run. The go-ahead run is Mills on deck, and the pitch misses outside. It's a ball and 2 strikes. And now they change it on the scoreboard, so a ball and 1 strike. The count on Durden. What a game this has been. And the 1-1. Called strike 2. Now the count 1-2.
You think you're going to go with a miles per hour fastball? You just drop in a little bit of a change of speed on the inside corner, get your second strike, and put you right back ahead of the hitter and in control of this at bat.
And now the 1-2 swung on, just got a piece of that one to stay alive. He foul tipped that one. And I believe the reason they took a strike off the board originally, it may have been a balk that was called as why Paluski went to second.
Either that or catcher's interference, one of the two.
If it was catcher interference, the batter would go to first.
You're right. Yeah.
So that's what I believe is called. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. Nonetheless, the foul balls make it 1-2 regardless. And now here's the pitch, and that misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Paluski has a huge lead off a second. The Jaguars aren't even trying to hold him on. with the tying run at the plate.
Exactly. Just concentrate on the hitter at bay and make sure you get these last 2 outs, because 5 is not equivalent to the 6 they need.
It sure does not. Here's the 2-2. Did that miss? Yes, it did. Count is full on Durden. This is turning into a very good at-bat. And he's making John Michael Law work on the mound here in this one.
There's a lot on the line in this at-bat, and that tracking ability under duress right now for the Pacers is something to marvel at, because that was a borderline pitch that could have gone either way.
3-2, swing and a miss! Down on strikes goes Durden, 2 out in the 9th inning. That's going to bring up Alex Mills. So that brings up Mills in this game. He's singled, walked and scored, flown out and struck out. And the pitch is a called strike. 0-1. For those following basketball, Gonzaga has just advanced to the Elite Eight, beating Florida State. First team to do so in this year's tournament. No balls and a strike on Mills. Runner on second. 2 outs. Here the Jaguars just focus on the batter and getting the easy out. That's all you got to do. The 0-1 is a called strike 2. 0-2.
So now Mills has to protect the plate, first of all, and you pitched a fastball and an off-speed changeup. See what you come back with, but it may be some type of fastball, in which he did, but just a little bit too far outside.
And that misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The crowd thought the game was over on that one. Still a runner on second.
You just love the up and down of the emotions from the crowd, though, when it gets this late.
Oh, it's great.
It's
a precursor for the Green Jackets season as well.
Absolutely
and
electric.
the Major League season that just started today. Called strike 3, and the ball game is over. The Jaguars win 6-4 over the Pacers in their first ever game here at SRP Park. Blake, this was an outstanding game. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, we will wrap things up, and Blake will get your final thoughts as well on the other side of this break. On the Augusta University Athletics Network on YouTube, stay tuned for Postgame. Welcome back to SRP Park. The teams are shaking hands. The Jaguars are victorious in this one, 6-4 over the Pacers. I'm Robert Ambrose, along with Blake Collins. And Blake, this was an outstanding game. Do you have any additional thoughts?
Yeah, the Jags were able to get to the starting pitcher for Aiken, and they put consistent at-bats together and clutch at-bats together when they had to. Now, the bullpen for Aiken was really solid throughout after that 5-run second inning.
Yeah.
They virtually shut the Jags out with only 1 run allowed. But still, you look at it, and especially from a conference opponent, this is one of the best games I've seen from the Jags all year long, especially within conference play.
Absolutely.
Because the Jags have struggled a little bit in conference play. But you look at it, too, this is definitely a confidence booster for them going forward. As you mentioned, Lander's next on the docket. And not only that, but from a pitching perspective, the starter Tony Jones and the back end of the bullpen, Horton all the way to Law, on the tail end came in and shut the door on the Aiken offense when it mattered the most. And that was a key component because it allowed the Jags to kind of breathe easy, breathe soft, and put together good at-bats and bats of longevity to where they can actually be disciplined and try to create offense on their own, which is splendid.
Absolutely. The Jaguars just did everything right. The bullpen today was outstanding as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we talked about the bullpen a little bit ago, talked a little bit ago about the bullpen. One thing that helped the Jags out a lot is the defense of Aiken towards the latter stages of the game was not as crisp as it was toward the middle part and the beginning part of the contest tonight, and that's something from a defensive standpoint they will want to work on, get crisper and better at, so that way in situations like this, in games that are of high magnitude, on playing in a minor A affiliate ballpark such as the Green Jackets under the bright lights here, that you want to try to seize up, be crisper at, and be cleaner at, and that unfortunately came back to plague Aiken. But the pitching from their point was outstanding. So was the Jags bullpen.
Absolutely.
Mopping up everything.
There was no scoring, speaking of how good the bullpen was, no scoring from the bottom of the fifth inning onward after Bohanna's home run, which was the big insurance run for the Jaguars in this one.
Absolutely. So if you look at it from the seventh inning on, and we're not counting the Hannah home run, that is 9 outs of unproduced run quality from the bullpens. They shut out the offenses on both sides, the bullpens, for 9 consecutive outs. That is doing your job and a lot of damage in crucial moments.
Absolutely. What a game once again. Blake, as we wrap things up here at SRP Park, the Jaguars with the victory over the USC Aiken Pacers 6-4. This has been a special presentation of the Augusta University Athletics Network on YouTube. Once again, for Blake Collins, I'm Robert Ambrose. The Jaguars 6 and the Pacers 4 is the final score here at SRP Park. Good night, everybody.